At 7 in the morning, I glanced at the weather forecast, intending to send a message to my girlfriend Jolie, warning her about the rain expected in London today and reminding her to bring an umbrella. Just as I opened WhatsApp, a message from Jolie popped up. I was about to marvel at our telepathic connection when my smile froze. The message was brief and clear. "Babe, are you still coming over tonight?" Ding. Story Shots reminds you to click the subscribe button at the bottom right corner to read the full novel. My mind went blank, and before I could react, it seemed the other person realized something and quickly deleted the message. Then came a string of emojis, followed by, "Babe, I'm up. When are you coming back? I miss you." I began to doubt if my eyes were playing tricks on me, or if I was dreaming. But WhatsApp showed that the other person's message had been deleted, clearly telling me I'd been cheated on. I'd been away on a business trip for a week. This business negotiation was crucial, which is why I had to come. To get back to her sooner, I worked day and night, even planning to buy her a handbag as compensation before I left. Now I realized all my efforts were in vain. At that moment, my heart sank completely. Just then, my assistant asked if I wanted to queue up to buy the bag now. I was stunned for a moment before I remembered. The original plan was to take the last flight back tonight, leave the bag by her bedside, and give her a surprise. I didn't expect her to give me a shock in advance. "No need, please cancel my flight ticket as well. You all go back first. I'll return in a couple of days." My assistant looked at me puzzled. I knew he noticed something was off about me, because I was always the one eager to get home to my girlfriend. But now I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to face the reality of being betrayed. I randomly picked a pub to sit down, ordered a drink, and began to ponder. Jolie Collins and I had known each other since university. She was my junior and we started dating in my 3rd year. Back then, I was tight on money, but she was still willing to be with me, accompanying me to eat street food. Now, I've had some success in investments and I'm better off financially. I felt I owed her the most and wanted to give her the best things, but she betrayed me behind my back. My phone kept vibrating in my pocket. I took it out and saw it was Jolie calling. I hadn't sent her any messages today, whereas usually I'd send hundreds. Now I didn't even dare to open our chat window. As soon as the call connected, I heard Jolie's coquettish voice. "Darling, I'm out shopping and I've seen a lovely coat, but I didn't bring enough money. Could you transfer some to me?" Not a single message all day, and the first thing she says is asking for money. Was I really so blinded by love that I never noticed what kind of person my girlfriend was? I wanted to refuse, but as the words reached my lips, I suddenly changed my mind. "Of course, babe. Thank you, darling. I love you so much. Remember to come home early." After hanging up, I examined my face through the phone screen. My expression was calm, without a trace of anger. Perhaps years of navigating the business world had taught me to keep a poker face. But that didn't mean this matter would be let go so easily. A thought suddenly sprouted in my mind. But before that, I needed to find out. Who exactly was this third person? I needed to figure out what Jolie had been up to while I was away. The lock on our house is smart, and when it was installed, Jolie suggested turning off the video recording, citing privacy concerns. Now I understand. She might have been afraid I'd see her bringing men home. However, the smart lock can still check the opening times. The records showed the door opened once yesterday at 5 p.m. and again at 6 a.m. this morning. Jolie isn't home now, so this morning's opening must have been her leaving, which also means she brought someone back last night. Thinking about this, I was fuming. I didn't even dare imagine what they did on my bed last night. I really wanted to throw that bed away now. If it's just a simple breakup, that would be too easy for them. I need to make them pay. There's a CCTV in the living room, originally installed because we had 2 cats and were worried something might happen. Before I left for the trip, Jolie said she'd take good care of the cats and asked me to turn off the CCTV. Now that I think about it, everything was premeditated. But what she doesn't know is that the CCTV can be turned on remotely. At 2 a.m., I tossed and turned in my hotel bed when my phone alerted me that the front door lock at home had been opened. I immediately checked the security camera feed. In the footage, Jolie Collins was wearing a sexy slip dress, a stark contrast to her usual innocent image. She was carrying shopping bags, followed by a man. "Darling, try on the new clothes I bought for you." Jolie took out a men's outfit from one of the bags for the man to try on. Watching this scene, I was fuming with rage. Using my money to spoil another man, and she was enjoying every bit of it. The man was plain-looking and a bit chubby. I couldn't understand what Jolie saw in him. Some people are just cheap, thinking everything they haven't tasted is fresh and exciting. "Why try on clothes now? Let's get down to business," the man said, taking off his shirt and pulling Jolie onto the sofa. They both laughed uncontrollably. I took this opportunity to frantically screenshot everything. These would all be evidence in the future. Suddenly, the man looked up at the camera, his hand freezing in midair. "Why is there a security camera there?" "Don't worry, Marvin never turns on that camera. He always listens to me. Is this how you repay my trust?" "No, I'm still not comfortable with it." The next second, the man threw a piece of clothing over the camera, immediately blacking out the screen. Even without visuals, there was still audio. Feeling more at ease, their conversation became increasingly explicit. I never imagined my girlfriend could say such things. But at the same time, I also overheard some useful information. "Marvin's coming back in a couple of days. I'll have to hide my secret phone and won't be able to contact you for a while. No worries. Just come find me whenever you miss me." A secret phone for contact, I see. I made a mental note of this, turned off the feed, and booked a flight to Jolie's hometown. It was time to have a proper chat with her parents. Jolie's hometown wasn't too far from where we lived, about a 4-hour drive away. Yet Jolie rarely went back because her home was quite chaotic. Her alcoholic father who was prone to violence, her biased mother, and a spoiled younger brother. Jolie had told me she had a tough childhood, which made me feel awful and want to give her a better life. I never expected her to treat me like this. When I arrived at Jolie's family home, her parents were surprised. "Isn't Jolie with you?" "No, I'm just passing through on a business trip and thought I'd drop by to see you. I've brought some gifts." At the mention of gifts, their faces lit up with smiles as they warmly invited me in. I had brought a bottle of fine whiskey and a new coat. They fussed over me, asking about my well-being. When I took out the new gaming console I'd bought, Jolie's brother started calling me bro-in-law and insisted I stay for dinner. At the dinner table, I brought up my intention to marry Jolie. Her mother's eyes shifted, and she looked uneasy. "Jolie's our only daughter, you know." I could easily read between the lines. I immediately offered a dowry of £50,000 and a car. "Nick's already 22 and still unemployed. After Jolie and I get married, he can come work at my company. I'll give him a director position with a monthly salary of several £1,000s. Nick, who was gnawing on a pork knuckle, forced a smile on his greasy face. "Bro, you're too kind to me. Of course, once we're married, we'll be family. When you come to work, I'll help you buy a house and introduce you to a nice city girl. With a house, it'll be easier to get married. Who knows, in a few years, you might even give your parents a grandchild." Hearing about the car, house, and marriage prospects, the whole family nodded in delight. Jolie's father was so pleased he had a few extra drinks. I glanced at Nick's appearance and inwardly smirked. It would be better not to inflict someone like him on some poor girl. But of course, these were all empty promises. After several rounds of drinks, I could see that Jolie's father was thoroughly intoxicated. His speech slurred. I knew the moment had come. "Mr. Bennett, I've always wanted to marry Jolie, but she doesn't seem to agree. She keeps saying she's too young, not in a hurry, and wants to enjoy life for a couple more years." "Enjoy life, my arse. If she won't marry, I'll give her a good thrashing. Hang her up and beat her. That'll sort her out." Jolie's mother anxiously nudged her husband with her elbow. I used to hear that Jolie was often beaten, and I'd stand in front of her, threatening her parents not to lay a hand on her again. But now I regret it. I wouldn't dare hit Jolie. With her temper, she'd call the police and have me arrested. Maybe we should wait a bit longer on the marriage thing. Hearing that their sure thing might slip away, the whole family became agitated. If you won't hit her, I will. What's wrong with a father disciplining his own daughter? It's a family matter. I'd like to see which copper dares to interfere. Seeing my goal achieved, I was satisfied and went home that afternoon. The house had been cleaned thoroughly, and Jolie was waiting for me at the door. As soon as she saw me, she ran up and hugged me. Darling, I've missed you so much. If I hadn't discovered the truth, I might still be in the dark. Looking at Jolie's smiling face, I laughed coldly inside. Smile while you can, you won't be smiling for long. Less than 10 minutes after I got home, Jolie received a phone call. Just seeing the caller ID made her face turn pale. Go home now? Marvin just got back. I want to spend some time with him. All right, I understand. Don't swear. After hanging up, Jolie cautiously approached me. Darling, my parents want me to go home for a bit. Could you come with me? Come with you to watch you get beaten? Should I stop her or not? I've got some work to do at the office. You go on your own. Jolie hesitated, her phone ringing incessantly in her pocket. She finally chose to go home alone. What would happen when she got there was anyone's guess. Jolie took a taxi home last night and didn't show up until early the next morning. As soon as I walked in, I noticed the bruise on her lip and her strange gait. What happened, love? As soon as she saw me, she burst into tears and threw herself into my arms. My parents actually hit me. They called me home last night, and after just a few words, they started beating me. I was so scared, I thought I was going to die. That's when I noticed the bruises on her hands and knees. In the past, I might have taken Jolie to confront them immediately. But now I didn't want to do that. I even felt a bit of schadenfreude, though I offered a few words of comfort. My phone's broken too. I'll need to get it fixed. Why bother fixing it? Didn't you want that new model? I'll buy you a new one, I said, tossing her broken phone into the bin. Seeing her smile through her tears, I urged her to go rest. Babe, why did we change our bed? Jolie's face changed when she saw the unfamiliar bed, looking a bit guilty. Oh, I just fancied a change. In reality, I found that bed disgusting. I couldn't bear to think how many times they had rolled around on it behind my back. So as soon as she left, I immediately bought a new one. Jolie didn't say much more and went straight to bed. As for me, I pretended to take out the rubbish, leaving the house with her smashed phone. I first went to a friend to help me repair my phone and recover data, and managed to find Jolie Collins' private account. What I saw shocked me to the core. I could hardly imagine Jolie posting those provocative photos on her WhatsApp status every day. This private account only had one contact, Porter Dixon. Their chat history was equally appalling. I saw that familiar message. Babe, did you like last night's position? Well played, Jolie. Well played. While I was working myself to the bone out there, she was having the time of her life at home. After going through Porter's WhatsApp posts and chat history, I gathered quite a bit of useful information. He's an ordinary programmer working for a company right across from mine. His boss happens to be an old friend of mine. Jolie probably doesn't know this, as she's never cared much about my social circle. But now it provides the perfect opportunity to put my plan into action. Getting rid of a mere programmer would be too easy. The higher they climb, the harder they fall. I got Jolie a new phone, but at the shop I bought two. I sent the other one to Nick Bennett, along with a new pair of trainers. I hope he won't disappoint me. On Monday afternoon, I visited my friend's company across the street to discuss cooperation. I received a warm welcome as soon as I entered. We've been waiting for you, Mr. Busy, my friend said. I followed him into the conference room where several others were seated. I immediately spotted Porter Dixon standing in the corner. In this setting, his only job was to flip through the PowerPoint slides. He wasn't even allowed to speak. Being the magnanimous person I am, how could I let him suffer like this? I pointed to an empty seat across from me. Why don't you have a seat? Everyone else is sitting. Aren't you tired standing there? Porter glanced at this situation nervously, stealing quick looks at the people next to him. My friend spoke up. Mr. Stevens said you can sit, so sit down. When I mentioned my surname was Stevens, he paused for a moment, but quickly sat down. This showed he hadn't recognized who I was, or perhaps Jolie had never shown him my photo. He only knew my name, but knowingly pursuing someone else's partner, that kind of person deserves to be taught a lesson. The meeting lasted 2 hours, during which I never once looked directly at Porter. As I was about to leave, I patted him on the shoulder. "I've seen some of your code before. Not bad." I saw a glimmer of excitement behind his glasses. Is that all it takes to win him over? Just a tiny bit of praise? As I was leaving the company, another person escorted me out. He introduced himself as Arlo Andrews, seemingly Porter's rival. "Mr. Stevens, I have extensive experience in front-end product development. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you need anything." I nodded, accepting his business card, and pretended to hesitate. "That Porter fellow just approached me as well. I'll have to weigh my options between the two of you." Arlo's smile remained, but his eyes clearly betrayed other emotions. Satisfied with what I saw, I left. Ever since discovering Jolie's affair, all those beautiful memories shattered instantly. Now I can't even bear to look at her. I've used the excuse of being busy with work to move into another house. At first, Jolie still fantasized about dating Porter and quickly agreed to meet. Unfortunately for her, Porter is now working overtime every day, trying to win the project I'm offering. He's already drafted 7 or 8 proposals. Forget about dating, he barely has time to eat. Meanwhile, Jolie received another call from her family. At 10 o'clock in the evening, my phone alerted me that the security camera had saved a video clip. Modern security systems are quite intelligent, capable of recognizing sounds and saving clips with unusual audio. I watched Jolie Collins on the monitor as she was making a phone call. She had been leisurely applying a face mask on the sofa until her mother called. "Your brother says he wants to buy an Apple computer. Transfer £3,000 to him." "What computer costs that much? Doesn't he already have a perfectly good one? Why are you asking so many questions? Your brother just wants to use something better. Is that not allowed? You're living it up in the big city, wearing gold and silver. Why can't your brother have nice things too?" The voice on the other end launched into a tirade without hesitation, spewing all sorts of profanities, reducing Jolie to tears. "I told you to get married, but you still haven't. You're still pretty now, but in a few years when you're older, Marvin won't want you anymore. Just wait for him to break up with you. I'm telling you, if you can't marry Marvin, your father and I will beat you to death and leave you on the mountain for the wolves. We'll pretend we never had a bastard like you. They won't have to wait a few years. I'll be breaking up with her very soon. Transfer the money before tomorrow morning, or I'll come over there and beat you to death myself. And hurry up and marry Marvin. I don't care how you do it, even if you have to get pregnant secretly to force him. You must get married." Last time Marvin came back, I saw Daisy from next door talking to him. She's younger than you, and she knows how to seize an opportunity. Look at yourself. What a waste. I deliberately let Daisy leave. The young girl just casually said goodbye to me as she left. I noticed Jolie's parents watching from behind, so I deliberately slowed my pace, pretending to be engrossed in conversation with her, just to make them anxious. As it turned out, this tactic was quite effective. Jolie was beaten badly when she got home. I even discovered records of her visiting a therapy clinic on her credit card statement. Before I could finish watching the surveillance video, Jolie's call came through, but I had no intention of answering. I just wanted to see her anxious state. I wonder if her parents would really come to cause trouble if she couldn't get the money by tomorrow. I simply blocked her number. That night, I slept exceptionally well and had a pleasant dream. Early the next morning, the security system alerted me that another video clip had been saved from the previous night. It was recorded after I had hung up on Jolie's call. She tried calling several times, but no one answered. Finally, frustrated, she tore off her face mask and smashed a cup in anger. After trying a few more times and confirming that I wasn't picking up, she decided to call Porter Dixon instead. However, at that time, Porter should have been quite busy. "Darling, can you lend me some money to buy a computer? It's not much, just £3,000. 3,000 isn't much? Doesn't that fool of yours have plenty of money? What kind of computer costs £3,000? You don't even work. Why do you need such an expensive one? It's for my brother. I can't reach my boyfriend now. Can you lend it to me first? I'll pay you back as soon as I get the money. Okay? Pay back my arse. What's your brother got to do with me? Why should I care about him? You've never earned a penny yourself. You have no idea how hard it is to make money. You just open your mouth and ask for 3,000. Why don't you go rob a bank? Damn it. I guess Porter must be quite annoyed right now. He's got Arlo eyeing his position at work, and now someone's calling to ask for money. Hearing this, Jolie couldn't contain her anger and started cursing back. Porter, you're such a shameless bastard. You didn't have this attitude when you were sleeping with me. Every time we went out, I paid for everything. Even the hotel bills were on me. Now you won't even give me £3,000. Wasn't it you who threw yourself at me? If someone offers themselves, should I refuse? What kind of man would I be? Watching them curse at each other over the phone, I couldn't help but feel incredibly satisfied. After closing the video, I thought for a moment and sent Porter a message on WhatsApp. Fancy a drink tonight? Mr. Stevens, this one's for you. I'll down mine, you drink as you please. As night fell, Porter, wearing a checkered shirt, raised his glass and fawned over me. Having trouble at work? You don't look well. If the project's too complex, I can assign it to someone else. Don't say that, Mr. Stevens. Work's fine. I'm just worried about my girlfriend. Really? If you don't mind, you can tell me about it. So Porter began to tell me about his relationship. We were in secondary school together. She was beautiful but shy. People bullied her a lot back then. I couldn't stand it, so I helped her out a few times. I never had the courage to ask her out after graduation. We only reconnected by chance last year. They reconnected last year, earlier than I'd expected. Judging by Porter's expression, I could guess their relationship had quickly intensified after meeting again. He didn't mention his girlfriend having another boyfriend, and I couldn't tell if Jolie being bullied in school was true or not. But in my mind, none of that mattered. After all, they betrayed me first. A few drinks in, Porter began to treat me like a confidant and opened up. At first, I thought she was all right, pretty and coy. But lately, she's always asking me for money. I'm not an ATM. Ha, that's only because I used to be the one she asked for money. If I hadn't been earning to support you both, you'd have starved long ago. Women are all like that. They only stick around if you have money. As it happens, there might be some staff changes at my company soon. If you do well on this project, I might poach you for our firm. Porter's eyes lit up, and his voice began to quiver. Really, Mr. Stevens? You're too kind. You're my benefactor. He downed several drinks in quick succession. Just then, his phone rang. I glimpsed the caller ID Jolie. What a coincidence. I pretended not to notice and poured a few more drinks. Let's have a proper night out. Don't let women spoil our fun. You're right, Mr. Stevens. This one's to you. I watched him hang up, imagining Jolie angrily throwing things around by now. By the end of the night, Porter was barely conscious. I called a woman over and introduced her to him. This is my friend Layla. She's also in the IoT business. Let me introduce you. Layla was attractive and poised. Porter's eyes nearly popped out of his head. This guy had neither money nor looks. If Jolie liked him so much, perhaps the school story was true. I wondered what expression Jolie would have seeing her white knight cheating on her. After settling Porter, I stayed at the office for a few more days before deciding to go home and check on things. This time, Jolie didn't greet me as usual. Instead, she sat silently on the sofa. She had let her hair down to cover half her face, probably to hide the bruises from being hit. I had seen it all clearly on the security cameras. Because she hadn't gotten the money, Jolie's parents had shown up the next day. After making sure I wasn't home, her mother slapped her across the face. I've raised you all these years, only to end up with such an ungrateful child. I can see right through you now. I might as well beat you to death today. As soon as she finished speaking, Jolie's father followed up with a kick. I couldn't help but gasp at the sight. Only monsters could be so cruel. We're not expecting you to take care of us in our old age, but you should at least secure this man. Where else are you going to find someone like Marvin? You're just worthless. You deserve to be beaten. Her mother was ruthless, deliberately pinching areas hidden by clothing. Jolie cried out in pain, calling for her parents to stop. I saw all of this clearly, and now, watching her swallow her grievances, I felt nothing. Why didn't you answer any of my calls? Jolie demanded, getting in first. I simply shrugged. I'm usually very busy. I don't have time to respond to messages. If you don't reply, it means you don't love me. She seemed used to me comforting her every time, regardless of who was right or wrong. Oh, think what you like, I said, leaning back on the sofa. Only then did Jolie sense something was amiss. She bit her lip and looked at me pitifully. I'm sorry, darling. I was just so angry. You've been away for so long. I felt insecure. I was surprised she gave in so quickly. I thought she'd continue to berate me. I really missed you. I couldn't reach you lately, and it made me terribly upset. Please don't be angry with me, okay? Since she'd said this much, I naturally couldn't stay angry. After all, it wasn't the best time to break up yet. Darling, could you come home with me for a bit? Thinking carefully about her recent situation at home, I'd already guessed the purpose of this visit, but I still happily agreed. Hearing that I was coming, Jolie's parents had prepared a lavish meal. We all sat around the table, appearing very harmonious, until Jolie's mother suddenly asked, "You two have been together for quite a while now. What are your plans for marriage?" All eyes turned to me. Even Jolie looked at me shyly. If Uncle and Auntie agree, that would be wonderful. I'll fulfill all my previous promises. Hearing this, everyone's faces lit up with excitement. Darling, you're so good to me, Jolie exclaimed, leaning in to kiss me, but I deftly avoided it. It's just that the company's been having some issues lately. I've been quite busy, and I'll probably be tied up with work all year. We might have to consider it next year. The wedding will need time to prepare as well. As soon as I said this, the atmosphere froze. Nick was the first to stand up and say, "We don't care about the wedding ceremony. We don't even need to have one. As long as the house, car, and dowry are ready. Is that right, Jolie?" I turned to her, seeing the forced smile on her face. What girl doesn't care about her own wedding? But now she had no choice. "Marvin, as long as I can be with you, I don't care about the wedding. That won't do. I can't let you down. I'll definitely give you a grand wedding, don't worry." The meal ended with everyone feeling unhappy. I watched as Jolie Collins' mother carried the dishes into the kitchen, and shortly after called Jolie to join her. I quietly followed behind, but before I could enter the kitchen, I heard the commotion inside. "This is what you get for being stubborn. You spoiled brat. Do you really think you're some kind of princess? What kind of wedding do you want? That money would be better spent on your brother." Jolie was pinched several times and backed away, clutching her arm with a face full of hurt. "Marvin said he'd marry me next year. What's wrong with waiting a year? Wait another year? Don't you know anything can happen? You were just saying the other day that Marvin wasn't responding to your messages. What does that tell you? He's already lost interest. If you don't get married soon, you'll end up being dumped." Jolie's eyes widened, shaking her head in disbelief. I watched the confrontation between mother and daughter, smirking to myself. After a while, I left. By then, Nick had already returned to his room, knowing full well that as the family's precious son, he'd never be expected to do the dishes. "Nick, what are you up to?" I asked, pushing open the door. Even though Nick hurriedly closed the screen, it was too late. I clearly saw the card game on display with various chips beside it. "Nick, are you gambling?" He quickly pressed the power button, vehemently denying it. "Marvin, what are you on about? I'd never gamble. It's just a friendly game with the lads." Clearly, Nick understood the gravity of gambling, but his greed was overwhelming. "Don't worry, Nick. I'm not some old fuddy-duddy. I won't tell your parents. I've heard you can make quite a bit of money with these games." "Really?" As expected, at the mention of making money, The greed in his eyes was unmistakable. That's right. A client at my old company made a fortune from this. We all had to treat him with the utmost respect. I knew you could make money from it. They all say I'm good at it. I've already won a few £100. Those people were just reeling him in. Once he was hooked, they'd have him. Since he'd already set foot on this path of no return, I didn't mind giving him another push. But these games require an initial investment to earn more. High risk, high reward, right? But I'm scared. What if I can't make it back? I chuckled softly, patting Nick's shoulder. Don't be afraid. You've got me, haven't you? If I marry your sister, we'll be family. When that time comes, I'll definitely help you out. Nick's eyes lit up, his body trembling with excitement. He kept calling me bro over and over. As I left, he stood at the door watching me drive away, practically waving a handkerchief. On the way back, Jolie remained quiet, and I wasn't in the mood to chat either. After 4 hours of driving, we finally arrived at our building. Jolie was about to get out when she noticed I wasn't moving. What's wrong, Marvin? You go on up. I've got work at the office. I won't be home tonight. You've only been back for a day and you're already going to the office. Perhaps remembering her mother's words, Jolie became anxious. She leaned in close, trying to coax me. I've missed you so much. Can't you stay tonight? I'll give you a massage and wear that outfit you like. Unfortunately, I'd lost interest and was starting to feel disgusted. Your family needs so much money, and I've got to go earn it, don't I? That's how it is. You go on up by yourself. When I pushed Jolie away, she clearly hadn't processed it yet. Her beautiful eyes looked at me, and after a moment of silence, she suddenly exploded, angrily getting out of the car and slamming the door shut. Then don't come back tonight. The fact that she could still lose her temper with me showed she still thought I couldn't live without her. Too bad she was wrong this time. Last night, Porter Dixon had sent me a message, inviting me out for a few drinks. Ever since I mentioned the possibility of poaching him, he'd been inviting me out more and more frequently. Now it was time to wrap things up. I'd finally decided to go with Arlo Andrews' plan. Even disregarding personal feelings, Arlo's abilities far surpassed Porter's. But Porter seemed to think he'd already secured his position with me. When I went to sign the agreement at their company, I even overheard people expressing dissatisfaction with Porter Dixon. They were mainly complaining about him being lazy, disobeying orders, and talking back to superiors. It seemed Porter's days at the company were numbered, but I didn't want to let him off so easily. Porter, I'd like to have you join us, but your performance on previous projects hasn't been impressive enough. I can't convince the board. How about this? If you can show some sincerity, the shareholders might not object. Mr. Stevens, what kind of sincerity are you looking for? Well, think about it yourself. I was eager to see how he would respond. After staying at another flat for a week, Jolie Collins became anxious when I didn't return home. She even considered coming to the office to find me. I lied to her, saying I was away on a business trip, leaving her disappointed. But that evening, I kept a close eye on the security cameras. Only when I was away would Jolie feel confident enough to bring Porter home. As soon as they entered, they embraced each other. Porter mentioned he had met someone influential and would soon make a lot of money. That's wonderful. If possible, I'd love to marry you. Hearing this, I cursed her countless times in my mind. Forget it with your family situation. It seemed Porter understood Jolie's family circumstances, but Jolie couldn't bear to hear it. What's wrong with my family? You think I have to marry you? I can get married next year, and then you'll be crying in secret. Jolie angrily pounced on him, scratching him playfully. Suddenly, she stopped. What's this? Why is there a love bite? Are you cheating on me? I hadn't expected Layla Robertson to make a move on Porter so quickly. Seeing he couldn't hide it anymore, Porter dropped the act. What are you shouting about? What cheating? We're not even in a real relationship. Didn't you say you're getting married next year? Jolie was caught off guard by this sudden turn of events, frozen in place. But you still shouldn't cheat. You know how I feel about you. I truly like you. What good is liking me? Should I be your bit on the side because you like me? Layla is beautiful, smart, richer than you and younger. Why shouldn't I be with her? Who are you to me? Porter. Jolie angrily lunged at him, but Porter pushed her away and slapped her hard across the face. The sharp, crisp sound came through clearly on the security feed. I almost wanted to record this scene and play it on loop. Porter, how could you do this to me? We've been together since sixth form. I gave you my virginity and even had an abortion for you. You didn't give me any money, so I had to go to a cheap clinic. Now I can never have children. I did all this for you, and this is how you treat me. It's your own fault for being so cheap. Letting men take advantage of you for free has nothing to do with me. Just because I said a few nice things to you back then, you threw yourself at me. If you're not happy, let's just end things here. Porter grabbed his clothes and left, leaving Jolie alone, sobbing. I stared at the person on the security feed, taking a while to process what I just witnessed. Jolie couldn't have children, and Porter had apparently slept with her back in sixth form. It was too much information to take in at once, leaving me stunned for a long time. Well, that meant certain things could now proceed as planned. Jolie and Porter had a complete falling out. When I returned to my own place, she had prepared a grand meal and even dressed up nicely, waiting for me at the door. Darling, I've missed you so much. Let's eat first, and later I'll give you a massage. Seeing her like this, I inwardly sneered. Early the next morning, I brought up the subject of marriage with Jolie Collins. I'll arrange everything for the wedding, all according to your preferences. I'll agree to whatever you want for the engagement ring and other gifts. Darling, you're so wonderful. I'd love to marry you, Jolie replied. Then let's go for our premarital health check today. Jolie's smile instantly froze, and she couldn't even look at me. Do we really need a health check? I hate hospitals, and besides, we're both perfectly healthy. But everyone gets checked before marriage. It helps prevent potential issues. What if we discover some genetic problem when we want to have children later? Jolie turned pale, her lips trembling, adamantly refusing to go for the checkup. Of course, I knew she wouldn't agree, so I had called her parents in advance. They rushed over by noon, and upon hearing about the marriage, immediately wanted to take Jolie to the hospital. Jolie's father even said that after the wedding, I should buy a big house for Nick Bennett. Since this marriage wouldn't happen anyway, I readily agreed to everything. Jolie's mother, seemingly afraid Jolie might run away and the wedding wouldn't happen, held on to her tightly the whole time. They completed the registration and checkup in one go. After the checkup, I conveniently booked a room for them at a nearby hotel. When the results came back, it turned out Jolie couldn't have children. Her parents were stunned. Doctor, there must be some mistake. How is this possible? Surely your diagnosis is wrong. The doctors are professionals. If you don't believe it, you can get a second opinion at another hospital. The diagnosis shows the possibility of pregnancy is extremely low. In an instant, all eyes were on me. I pretended to look troubled and said, "But my parents have always wanted a grandchild." This news was undoubtedly a bombshell for them, but it was exactly the result I had been waiting for. That evening, I proposed we break up. Jolie called her parents. The whole family looked at me while Jolie was crying and begging me not to break up. Her mother tried to persuade me too. You two have been together for so many years. It's not right to break up over this. Was all that time together just fake? Feelings? I scoffed, turning on the projector in the living room. I played a video I had prepared earlier, showing intimate scenes between Jolie and Porter Dixon. Is this her feelings for me? The last part of the video was an argument between Porter and Jolie before they broke up. I've been with you since secondary school. I gave you my first time, even had an abortion for you. You wouldn't give me money, so I had to go to a cheap clinic. Now I can't have children for the rest of my life. Jolie stumbled backwards in fear. The living room fell into dead silence, until the sharp sound of a slap echoed across Jolie's face. How did I give birth to such a thing? Others trade up, but you trade down. Jolie's mother was shaking with anger as she delivered another slap. Oddly enough, Jolie's father still tried to salvage the situation. Our Jolie was young and naive, surely she was deceived. They've broken up now, so maybe you could. If you were the one being cheated on, could you tolerate it? I had no interest in being a replacement. I immediately kicked Jolie's family out and called the property management to send 2 security guards to escort them away. I didn't want them fighting at my doorstep and embarrassing me. Marvin, I was wrong, I really was. Please let me in. I promise I'll change. I'll only love you from now on. The commotion outside gradually faded, but my phone in my pocket started ringing. It was a call from Nick Bennett. Bro, could you lend me some money? I'll pay you back when I break even. That person tricked me, he's in cahoots with them. Please help me out, mate. How much do you need? About 100 grand. The audacity to ask for so much. No, and don't call me again. You're my sister's fiancé. If you're like this, I won't let my sister marry you. I watched from the window as 4 or 5 security guards struggled to separate Jolie Collins and her mother, forcibly removing the family of 3 from the estate. I couldn't help but feel a sense of smug satisfaction. Fine, don't marry me then. I won't marry your sister either, so stop bothering me, I said. I contacted a removal service and had all of Jolie's belongings packed up and sent back to her hometown. Although the cost was considerable, I simply couldn't bear to see her again. A few days later, Jolie called me from someone else's phone, saying she had been beaten by her family and was now lying in hospital. I'm really scared, so I called the police. Now they won't let me come home or visit me. Could you come to the hospital to see me? She pleaded. Should I go to visit her or just pay her medical bills? Since we've broken up, your problems are no longer my concern, I replied coldly. I now felt the flat was unlucky, so I contacted an estate agent to put it up for sale. Just as I had finished dealing with Jolie's situation, Porter Dixon appeared. His gift to me was an attempt to breach the company's firewall and steal core data from me. I immediately informed my friend about this. I had no desire to associate with someone who would betray their company like that. Porter was fired from the company, and after word spread, he was blacklisted in the industry. No major company would hire someone like him in the future. As if that wasn't enough, shortly after losing his job, Porter was beaten and hospitalized. Layla Robertson was a woman I had hired, a professional other woman. I paid her to get close to Porter and give Jolie a taste of what it felt like to be betrayed. However, it seemed one of Layla's previous conquests still had feelings for her and had even divorced his wife to pursue her. When he heard she was now with Porter, he immediately gathered some people and had him beaten up. Now Porter and his girlfriend, or rather ex-girlfriend, would likely meet up in hospital. Nick Bennett also contacted me multiple times because he had racked up huge gambling debts. In the end, debt collectors came knocking and he had to go into hiding. His elderly parents were left running around trying to work and pay off his debts. But Nick's enormous debt was something they might never be able to clear in their lifetime. Not wanting any further involvement with them, I simply changed my phone number. After Jolie was discharged from hospital, she came to my office looking for me but was stopped by security in the lobby. She had lost all her former glamour, wearing an old shirt from who knows where and ill-fitting jeans. She kept her head down, avoiding eye contact with others. I heard she went to the flat where I used to live looking for me, but new tenants had moved in, a young couple. The woman mistook Jolie for the other woman and lashed out at her, with many onlookers gathering around. I was exhausted by this relationship. After having security remove her, I turned away. Things were truly over between us. I just hoped we would never cross paths again. Whatever city she ends up in, whatever kind of life she leads, none of that is my concern anymore. If we ever do meet again, we'll be nothing more than strangers to each other.